Hey everybody, it's Rico Go, and in this video I'm going to talk about all my expenses of my Cyprus Ltd company here in Cyprus. I will tell you exactly how much it will cost for you to open a Cyprus business company here, as well as what the costs are on a monthly, quarterly and yearly basis. At the end I will talk about the taxes as well as some hidden costs, so it's definitely going to be interesting. And let's start with the setup fees that you will need to pay in order to start a Cyprus Ltd company. First of all, I will say that it obviously depends on how much people you have in your company and how big your business is going to be. However, I will lean it towards what I spent for my two companies that I already incorporated, and I'm actually planning a third one, so I definitely know what the fair prices are here on the island. And the first company that I incorporated in 2018, 2019, something like that, was with two business partners of mine. And we not just incorporated the company, but we actually also immigrated to Cyprus. This was our first step here to the island, and we also got the immigration, so the yellow slip as well as the non-dom status, and we incorporated a company of which every one of us had 33% of shares of. And we paid for this whole bundle 30,000 euros, like 3 to 4 years ago. And in 2020, I incorporated my second company, only the company with an investor, and we paid 2,500 euros. So here we actually already have the first important note, and that is that it always makes sense to go with bundle packages. So if you're planning to move to Cyprus, try to do as much as possible within the first step, and then you will pay less in comparison to doing everything on its own. But let me say that incorporating a company can be as cheap as 1,500 euros if you know the right contacts and the right accounting firm. So definitely make sure to make a research, or if you need help, let me know. And in addition to that, you should also know that you need some other services. So you cannot just open a company, but you also need to be VAT registered. If you are moving to Cyprus, also need your immigration here and many other services. So in any case, it makes sense to get an individual consultation. However, when you get a very, very low offer for incorporating your company, definitely be aware of the hidden costs, and we will talk about that later on. So to sum up the setup fees, it's somewhat between 1,500 euros or 3,000 euros if you're doing it with multiple people, and also if you're moving to Cyprus. And now we will talk about the monthly expenses, so everything that you need to pay on a monthly basis in order to operate a company officially. And that is basically the social insurance payments, because if you own a company, you also need to pay yourself a salary, because you're one employee and also the employer. So you're paying yourself a salary on a monthly basis, and this salary is accorded to the social insurance, which means it's somewhat between 26%. For me, when I pay out a salary of 1,000 euros with one of the companies, I pay something between 290 to 300 euros of social insurance. It always also depends on the individual case. And also what's important to mention is that the social insurance payments are divided by half, and half of the social insurance payment is made by the employer and the other half by the employee. That's also a very important note. When you're paying out yourself a salary, always make sure that you're paying out your net salary and not a salary that you decided for yourself, but you actually need to remove the social insurance, because as said, half of the social insurance payment is made by the employee, and you're both of that in this case. That's the most important thing for the monthly expenses. The quarterly expenses are basically the accounting and bookkeeping, the services for that you're paying your accounting firm, because you probably cannot do it and don't want to do it on your own. It's also the filing of the VS, so the VAT system here in Cyprus is also existent because we are in the European Union, and you need to declare all your expenses as well as income for every quarter. And the costs for that range between 200 to 500 euros, and actually even more if you're running a big company with lots of invoices. So the actual amount of how much you need to pay on a quarterly basis for your bookkeeping depends on the workload, the volume of how many invoices you generate as well as receive. If you, for example, run a dropshipping store and you're making a lot of sales, hundreds of sales every month, you need to pay more for the bookkeeping. And if you're a service provider and you're sending out 3 to 4 or 5 invoices every month to your clients, you do not need to pay as much as a dropshipping store for the bookkeeping. So it definitely depends on the quantity, volume, and also the complexity, because let's say you're running a business internationally to 20 different countries. It's also something that you should be aware of, that it can be more expensive than running a business within Cyprus or within 2 to 3 other countries. That's for the quarterly expenses. Now we are talking about the yearly expenses. And they are a little bit higher, but there's also a reason for that. So let me start with the annual levy fee. This is a fee that you pay every year in order to officially run your company. Actually, they are planning to remove this fee, but at the moment it's still there, and I just paid it for my 2 companies as well, so I will still include it into the video. And the next one is the district municipality fee. This is a similar fee, however, it is for each district. So where your company, in which city it's registered, you're paying the local municipality fee. The weird thing here is that it actually is different in each district. So for example, if your company is registered in Larnaca, you're paying 315 euros. And if your company is registered in Paphos, it's 228 euros per year. I must add to that they are planning to unify this fee, so that, let's say, in 1 year from now, everybody just pays 300 euros in order to pay this to the municipality and the local district. Next one is actually something very new, and that is the registration and submission of data in the Central Register of Real Beneficiaries. This is a one-time fee, so you're not paying this every year, but you're paying 150 euros once in order to submit all the directories, who is owning the company, as well as who's working in the company. And this is then being stored transparently in the registrar of companies, and you need to pay 150 for that. Now we are coming to the probably biggest expense, and that is the tax audit. A tax audit is something that every company in every country needs to do in order to state what the company owns, generates, and spends. The financial statement, that's also what it's called, costs in Cyprus for a normal company. It's always hard to say what's normal, but for one of my companies that is generating some invoices for service providing, as well as having some expenses in services or softwares that I'm using, some marketing softwares, I paid 1,400 euros for this company. If you're running a dropshipping store, again, you probably need to pay a little bit more. However, it will be not twice that amount unless you're running a corporate big company. Now I will briefly touch the taxes, as this is not a video about taxes, but I will still include the most important taxes, and that is one, the corporate tax, that is yearly on your profits, and that is 12.5%. So let's say you're generating 100,000 euros in profit in 1 year, you need to pay 12,500 euros to the government. However, be aware that this corporate tax is actually provisional. So you need to calculate your profits for the year already in summer, and then at the end of the year you need to pay the other half. So let's say 100k in profit. During summer, somewhere between July, August, you need to pay the half of the 12.5k, and at the end of the year you need to pay the difference. So let's say you're making more or less, and thus you need to pay more or less of the provisional tax. The next very important tax is the NHS contribution, basically, which is not a tax, but we still add it to the taxes because it's on every dividend that you're paying out yourself and some other expenses. But for the dividends, it's where it's most important, and that is 2.65% on every dividend that you're receiving from your own company or shareholding other companies. But it's kept at 180,000 euros. Let's say you're paying out a dividend of 180,000, so you're paying 4,770 euros to the NHS. But let's also say that you're paying out yourself a dividend of 1 million or 2 million, and you're still paying only 4,770 euros to the NHS. This is definitely something very interesting and important to know. Now we are coming to the hidden costs, and they are basically the service fees. Remember when I said in the beginning that some agencies offer you a very cheap price on opening a company? If you're receiving such an offer, definitely be aware that the service costs after that or while doing that actually can be very high. So let's say you agree on a certain amount of money that you're paying in order to open the company, but actually their service for that, they charging you 1,000 euros. So you're paying more than you would with a normal agency in that case. Also, there are services like shareholders change, name and address of the company change. Let's say you want to change the name of your company, or you want to change the directories and secretaries of the company. Those are services that you may not need as you're just opening your company, but I'm very sure if you're running your business long term, eventually you will want to change one of those. For me, just recently, I wanted to change the directories and secretaries of one company, as well as the shareholders and the address I'm planning to change very soon of one of the companies. So those services, the prices for that vary a lot for different agencies. But I'm here to tell you the fair price for each of those, and that is between 150 to 200 euros. I saw agencies and law firms that charge people 800 to 900 euros just for a simple task like this. But at the end of the day, if you want to change the name of your company, an expensive service is not doing it better, because the name is gonna be changed to whatever you want. Same for shareholders change and directory and secretary change. So the fair price for all of those services are 150 to 200 euros. There are some other services, such as if you want the accounting firm or your consulting firm that they pay the social insurance for you, or that they do some other things for you. The service fee for that is actually even cheaper. Something varies a lot, but let's say 50 euros for them to do something for you, so that you do not have to go to a government office, or that you do not have to log into the taxes net, which is basically where you add all of your expenses and income every month. And the service fees for that are all moderate. Of course, it's not for free, because they are doing something for you, so it's just fair for them to say, give me this or that amount of money, but they shouldn't be overly expensive. And also here, as I said in the beginning, bundle prices make so much sense, because if you're changing all of that I just said, you can actually get a bundle price, and then you're paying, let's say, 100 euros for each of those services. Definitely be aware of that in the future. Also, do not get blinded by low fees. Always make sure to do a big research before you're agreeing to something, especially if you're moving to a new country. And if you need more help with that, about incorporating a company, or videos about Cyprus, definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel. I will make more awesome videos. Please leave a like. I love doing these videos. And if you have any questions, leave a comment down below, and I'm very happy to see you in the next video.